Ready?
Yeah.
This is Zachary Whitney, and I'm interviewing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor Robert Owens. First, what made you interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I was looking for the single most effective martial art that I could find out there. And after years and years of belting out and being involved in many different martial arts, finally came across this one via reading about it, first of all, in what was described as the Gracie Challenge, and then tried it and found it to be truly the single most effective martial art.
When, where, and with who did you begin your training?
The very first place that I ever went with was a Hicks and Gracie seminar. Then we started a private training group up here in Tacoma. And quickly after that, a member of our training group went down to Brazil and brought in Marcelo Alonso, who at that time was the lead instructor of the Carlson Gracie team, which was arguably the most powerful jiu-jitsu team in the world at that point in time.
And how long have you been teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Teaching it or practicing? I've been practicing for close to about 20 years. You know, somewhere around midway, you start teaching more and more and more of just an assistant instructor. I've been running this gym or as a sole instructor probably for about 9 years now.
Can you give me a brief history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
More or less it was the unarmed combat that was taught to the samurai back in the shogunate period. After the shogunate period, when there wasn't a huge emphasis on a true combative martial art, it became kind of stylized and ritualized. The techniques were still there, but they weren't practiced with the same rigor that they would later be once they were rediscovered. These lineages were passed on to the Brazilians when a lot of Japanese immigrants went to Brazil around shortly after the turn of the century, 1930s, and the techniques were then rediscovered by the Brazilians because they involve it's just very, very technical. They don't involve a lot of strength or speed, and they found the Gracie family, not being a very big family, and Brazil being very much like the Wild West at that time, they found it to be very, very perfect style for them.
What physical elements does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stress?
It's basically technique. It's really about balance, technique, those kind of things.
And then what mental elements does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stress?
Relaxation, respect, a lot of the code words that you oftentimes see in other martial arts, it really does embody these, and it's not some externally imposed sort of thing like this is what you must believe in. It really comes about because if you don't do these things, you'll just wash out. So there's a sense of self-discipline, patience, relaxation, humility. Yeah.
I'm a casual mixed martial arts fan. I've noticed that a lot of mixed martial arts fighters use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a style. Why do you think that is?
The natural course of a fight. I would say 90% of all fights go to the ground. Yeah, or I'd say 95% of them go to a clinch and 90% of them go to the ground after that. Natural course of the fight. And Jiu-Jitsu operates in those realms almost exclusively. So because of that, it is following just a natural course of the fight. And if you want to be proficient in those things, you have to have those.
How many of your students have gone on to be professional mixed martial artists?
You mean MMA fighters?
I'm sorry, yes, MMA fighters.
I have one professional one right now. I've got a lot of amateur MMA guys, but I have one professional.
Is it a name that casual fans would recognize?
Yeah, Joel Pettit. He's right there.
Anything else you'd like to add for the interview?
No, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to come by and ask or come by and jump in.